of just how insane things
Wait, there was a critique of me on GenZedong that I didn't cover. I forgot to cover it. I was going to cover it yesterday. I'm going to go over it really quick, and then we're going to go to Supreme Court packing. Let's finish this video, though.
In the year 2021. That wasn't posturing. That wasn't their bad. Those are actions against a sovereign nation, a foreign power, expelling their diplomats, destroying their economy, threatening to back their enemies in a war, a real war too, not a war of words, a war where people get killed. We're doing all those things. The question is, why are we doing them? That's the part that nobody ever explains, but they don't really need to, because Vladimir Putin is so unbelievably, historically, monstrously evil. You don't need a justification to go to war against him. A man that bad should be punished just for existing with nuclear weapons if necessary. Here's Joe Biden explaining that Vladimir Putin has no soul.
You said you know he doesn't have a soul.
Well, I did say that to him, yes. And his response was, we understand one another. I wouldn't be
Maybe he responded that way because he was like, oh, now I know you're mentally ill.
a wise guy. I was alone with him in his office. That's how it came about. It was when
Biden's like, he goes, I'm staring at you and I don't see a soul. And Putin is probably like, we understand each other, meaning you're mentally deranged and mentally ill man, and you can't be reasoned with.
President Bush had said, I've looked in his eyes and saw a soul. I said, looked in your eyes, and I don't think you have a soul. And looked back at me and said, we understand each other.
So you know Vladimir Putin. You think he's a killer?
Mm-hmm. I do.
You're not?
And that's taking Corn Pop to a new level. You don't have a soul.
I'm sorry, but that was an immediate own. F's in the chat for Biden. He put up that serious face, and then immediately Tucker, he goes, that's taking corn. That's taking Corn Pop to a whole new level.
Soul?
Yeah, I know the Bush story about Zog and Magog or whatever. Gog and Magog.
You're a demon, a human gargoyle. This is a head of state who has like over 1,000 nuclear weapons aimed at us. Why is our president talking about Russia this way? Well, it's obvious. Clearly moving toward some kind of larger confrontation with Russia. Why are we doing that? And what will it look like?
What a good place to end. See, Fox, I'm getting an honesty from Fox News that I wouldn't get from. Oh, Fiallah, hold on. GenZedong. Fuck you. You said in your rules. Oh, they took it out? They took it out? They took out the rule? Okay, that's why then. Because otherwise, they had a fucking rule here that they added that there's no Haas allowed, and yet they're going to platform this dumb essay, this stupid fucking essay, which is the most stupid bullshit. Yes, I did read it. It was fucking stupid, but I have to walk you through it. Why the left's fascination with populism is a delusion. Took over the government. It was a coup. They argued one that didn't have a legitimate support. One had to fight it. In order to fight it, they argued they had to join up with the broader forces fighting the government, which were gangs and religious fundamentalists. There's some about Afghanistan. Dude, but you lost in Afghanistan. Don't you remember? This is the best reason why you need to learn from Maoist populism. And yes, the Maoists in Afghanistan got it wrong themselves, but that doesn't fucking change the fact that the socialist government in Afghanistan was fundamentally unsustainable exactly for the reason that they didn't have support among the broad strata. What point were you trying to make with this post? What fucking point were you trying to make with this post using the worst example? The only thing you've pointed out is that Maoists were not effective enough in persuading the Afghan population to join their cause. Because Maoism, this is the problem with Maoist foreigners in general. Maoists take something that was unique to China and try to apply it to every country. Mao said socialism with Chinese characteristics, and that did come from Mao, by the way. You need to have a Marxism applied to the Afghan conditions. Not, you know what I mean? Like, that's the issue with Maoism. So what a stupid fucking argument. I saw a post by Infrared. Yeah, this post made people lose their shit. All because I said that the far right is not as relevant as people think they are, and they're not. Like, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, mostly on the internet. And here's the difference. You have to go on the internet to find anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. I can walk outside and I can find you Sharia law people, you know, who believe Sharia law is coming. As for neo-Nazis, they're big in prison. And they're big in gangs, like prison gangs and shit. But why do you act like fascism is this big force in America? It's not. It's just fucking not. Why do you act like neo-Nazis are the biggest thing ever? They're not, dude. They're in prisons. I'll grant you that. They are in the prisons. But I feel like the neo-Nazi prison gangs are totally different. What do you think about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan? It was a failure. I want to be fair to Haas. He has a philosopher's mind. Here's the smart guy. Here we go, the street smart guy. Guys, keep in mind, this guy says he's street smart and I'm book smart. This is what he's trying to say in so many words. But politics and doing politics are two different things. Yeah, in my whole 10 years, I never was able to come to that conclusion. You super smart guy, SF Mara. You're such a smart guy. Politics are two different things. It's fine on the one hand to recognize the dialectical engagement of social forces, the Islamic Revolution. However, one must understand the role of communists and socialists in those movements, purge victims. Yes, one can pull old Heidegger out and comment how the left failed to connect authentically with the people. Okay, but you're getting this. The reason you're using that word authentically is because you watched the video that I showed that talked about Heidegger's relationship to the Iranian Revolution. And that video was heavy on the authentic word. I don't use the word authentically that often as like the essence of Heidegger. That's not the point of Heidegger, okay? But the fact still remains that the job of the on-the-ground leftist was to die, to be a footnote and a much... So what's your fucking point? My point is that it's an example of the failures and weaknesses of those same on-the-ground leftists. That's my fucking point. Their theory, their ideology, and their Marxism was primitive. That's my fucking point. They didn't properly appreciate the significance of what was going on. They were not trying to do what Mao did for the Chinese conditions, for the Iranian conditions. You know, what is your point? But what point are you trying to make? What actual point are you trying to make? Are you saying you should follow in their footsteps and be a footnote? Or do you think that communists and Marxists, wherever they live, should actually try their best and do their best to actually distill the calling of the era into a point of actual leadership of the people? What is your point, you fucking idiot? And you are an idiot. This is the fucking book you wrote to admit you're a fucking moron. Some of you may not know. I don't care. Okay. Well, after Bernie lost in a third, their politics has cohered, though. In a third, here's BreadTube, by the way. Third position is Red-Brown Alliance. Okay. Where's the red and where's the brown? You're talking about nothing. There's no red here and there's no brown either. There's no communist movement in America. There's no real socialists in America. There also isn't any fascist movement in America. You're talking out of your ass. What you're really talking about is a new breed of leftist, which I am part of, which doesn't recognize the institutional, corrupt, insulated environment of the so-called American left to represent anything meaningful or a real point of meaningful political distinction. That's what you're talking about. You're asserting forms that don't actually exist. I want to debate this person. Let it be known I want to debate this person for making me read this whole fucking thing. And I read it all before stream, by the way. I want to debate them. I want to hear them try to argue this dumb shit using their actual voice in real time. Some neo-Maoists have this idea there's an underclass analogous to the peasantry in the West. To quote, here's what I said. White supremacy in America isn't an explicit ideology. And I notice, okay, this is a quote directly from me, okay? This is at least naive to the extreme. Let's hear why it's naive. Ready? Let's go. While populists may not share faith in the ostensible institutions of liberalism, and I can say this based on extensive personal experience interacting with these types, you're a butthurt fucking lib who failed to convince anyone around you to believe in anything you say. And that's why you're writing this fucking book. That's what your experience amounts to. And I know a lot of people like you, by the way. Is that American exceptionalism is the underpinning of the entire worldview that Americans, liberals, and populists share. Their politics flows from this. America deserves to have, because it's the greatest country that... you just told me there's a difference between being street smart and book smart, and I'm too book smart and not street smart enough. But you are literally trying to intellectualize what Laclau called a floating signifier that is necessarily imminently ambiguous and isn't actually about some idea of American exceptionalism. They're taking the things that ordinary Americans know intuitively. They're using the intuitive language, the intuitive popular language of the American people, and using that language as a vehicle to distill and actually develop the concrete contradictions specific to the country we fucking live in, as it's meaningful and relevant to the majority of the people that actually live in it. You fucking moron! You're trying to be a fucking intellectual? You're accusing me of being too intellectual when you're interpreting this in an intellectual way? That when people sloganeer that we deserve to have greatness and we deserve to have Medicare for all and railroads and fucking industrial jobs and shit, that this is some intellectual pontification about that the essential point is that we're introducing the view that America deserves this for X reason. No, the fact that America is an exceptional or great country is an intuitively sensible and popular, unambiguous, uncontroversial thing for most normal American people. If you disagree with that point, your disagreement is entirely fucking intellectual. Moreover, you fucking stupid bitch, moron, fuck. When did how is that a response to what I fucking said? I said white supremacy in America isn't an explicit ideology. You responded to that by saying what? All populists use language that's sensible and meaningful to the actual target demographic, which is not butthurt GenZedong Baizuo intellectuals like yourself, but the actual majority of the American fucking people. This is your fucking retort to me? This is your response to that, you fucking moron? You didn't even mention anything about white supremacy, you fucking idiot. Or you're going to say that it's white supremacist by association, because we all know American imperialism is white supremacist. Therefore, when populists talk about this, they're really talking about white supremacy. Oh, wait, you fucking moron. No, they're not. You're just interpreting it in bad faith in a way that has nothing to do with the context in which they're conveying this message. When people say we need Medicare for all, railroads, industrial jobs, that's not some white supremacist fucking dog whistle. There's nothing inherently white supremacist about that whatsoever. Is there anyone in my chat who thinks that I have to persuade them that there's something inherently white supremacist about that? White supremacy is the norm of the country we live in. It underlies the fabric of almost everything about the country. Yes, granted. But when populists say this, they're not saying something specifically white supremacist. What they're actually talking about is an anti-establishment sentiment that can actually mobilize the support of the American masses. Okay? Are they explicitly addressing America's white supremacy and targeting it? No! But the way you undermine American white supremacy isn't by virtue signaling how much it bothers you or how much you're against it, but by respecting and forging an alliance with the peoples impacted by that white supremacy, the black population, respecting their autonomy, their leadership, and forming a determinate win-win relationship with them that respects their autonomy and their specific, particular, determined reality. You're not undermining white supremacy by having to tokenize every fucking slogan you have with the caveat that, but this is a white supremacist country and let's feel bad about this. Oh, guys, let's have Medicare for all, but with the caveat that we be conscientious of the fact that this is a white supremacist country and we should undermine it. No, it's not how you undermine white supremacy. How you undermine white supremacy is fighting unconditionally and without compromise for Medicare for all, for railroads, for industrial jobs, while at the same time forming a determinate relationship with the black peoples, with the Latino peoples, and their leaders. That's how you undermine white supremacy. Because if white supremacy isn't an explicit ideology, which it's not, but a structural reality, its basis is material. Its basis lies in something material. Its basis doesn't lie in the fact that people have the wrong ideas or just white supremacist ideas or any type of ideas whatsoever. Its basis lies in material, structural, and fundamental realities that cannot be negotiated with at the explicit ideological level. They certainly couldn't be negotiated with at the level of fucking slogans you're using to fucking actually reach the American people, you stupid GenZedong fucking moron Baizuo bitch. When I look at yes, exactly. Oh, it all goes back to the Nazis. Literally fucking breadtube fucking stupidity. Breadtube fucking stupidity. Breadtube fucking stupidity. Fucking breadtube level fucking retardation. When I look at the populist progressive media, all the based people basically, what about them makes them allies to the left? Repeat after me, chat. Fuck your left! Fuck your left! Fuck your left! Fuck your left! Fuck the left! And fuck you! Fuck your left! Fuck your left! We're not your allies! We're not your fucking allies, you bitch! That's the whole fucking point! We're not your fucking allies! Yes, their arguments are at times useful to bash liberals, but are they actually promoting a worldview that is actually left-wing or conducive to the goals of the left? If you can name me what the left wing is, I will name you corruption, filth, degradation, incompetence, and shills for the establishment. Everywhere that the left exists, it is corrupt. The duty of a real, authentic left is not to exist, but to be. Not to exist. If a left exists, if the left becomes a community that we identify as intelligible, as a place that begins and ends somewhere, the minute the left exists, it becomes corruption. The only way you're a real, authentic leftist is when you pursue the center correct line like Stalin, the Stalinist correct center, and inadvertently you be a leftist this way. You don't say, this is what the left believes and I'm going to identify with that. These are the interests of the left and I'm going to identify with that. The left has no content. The left has no content. It's an empty form. When you're admitting that you think that there's a left-wing interest and there's a left that you're identifying with as your group, you're admitting you're fucking corrupt. You're admitting that you don't think you're fighting for the interests of the working people, the working class, or the people, however you want to look at it, either in the classical Marxist sense, the proletariat, or in the Marxist-Leninist sense, the whole people, the people. You're saying you're not fighting for the people or the workers or the proletariat or the working masses. You're fighting for the left. You're fighting for a fucking group that isn't based in material reality, but only defines itself based on the fucking ideas that it has, not based on what it actually fucking is and how it relates to material reality. You're fucking admitting you're a fucking kulak. You're a fucking kulak. You're a fucking kulak is what you are. Fucking clout kulak. This is what I mean by a gatekeeper, by the way. This is what I fucking mean by a gatekeeper. When you have Jimmy Dore platforming neocon warmongers like Matt Stoller and literal race warrior Boogaloo, oh, what is fucking literal about the Boogaloo that Jimmy Dore platformed? What the fuck is literal about your interpretation that he's a race warrior? Nothing. He didn't identify as a race warrior. That guy has no indication he's a fucking race warrior. You're saying he's a race warrior, you lib shit bitch. Cristobal, who constantly insinuates as a fact that the COVID lab theory, how do you know? Do you fucking know where it came from, you smart fucking guy? You fucking idiot, stupid, dumb fucking bitch? And whose sidekick Sagar constantly talks about wanting to smash protesters with the military. Who gives a fuck? Those protesters are mainly cringe. They're people at Chaz who executed 2 unarmed black people. Would I say that I want to smash it with the military? No, because I'm not a fucking cop. But am I going to fucking cancel Sagar for fucking saying it? No, I'll say he's an idiot and move on for saying that. He's stupid he said that, but I'm not his fucking mom, and I'm not here to fucking police everything he says. But no, this is not a point of egregious crime, in my view. Glenn Greenwald, who downplays hate crimes and bitches nonstop about censorship on Twitter while promoting Parler, a service that censors and bans leftists. I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't give a fuck. He's trying to give a list of crimes of the smallest, most minute, irrelevant shit to completely cancel these people when everyone fucking knows that is not what defines Greenwald. What defines Greenwald isn't that he made the mistake of supporting or promoting Parler, but that he fucking rebelled against the fucking American left and got crucified for it. For being an anti-war, anti-establishment figure. You fucking idiot, bitch, Baizuo, fuck. This is GenZedong. Does this guy fucking think Chinese leftists would like him? Hey, SF Mara, go to China and go on the street. I want you to go to the street on China on the sidewalk. And I want you to ask and bring a camera, film people, unedited footage. You can't edit it. Go film people and say, who did you like better, Trump or Biden? And ask them about all the things you as a leftist care about. You're a leftist, right? Ask them about your left-wing values, and they're going to spit in your face. They're going to say, we like Trump better. They're going to say all of the things. They're going to say things way more egregious than all these people you're trying to cancel. You fucking idiot. Go to China and talk to Chinese people. If you think we're Nazbols and third positionists and right-wing populists, go to China, dude. China is a violently populistic country. China is literally the People's Republic of China. That's not an accident, my friend. China is a country where populism is the default. Populism is what's given in China. They take it for granted. Their state is populist. Their whole fucking country was founded by populism. It is what China is. The reason you don't hear about Chinese populism is because the government's already populist itself. You're not having all of these Chinese people rebelling in this upsurge against the government like in the West, because the Chinese government is already populist. And when I say populist, I don't just mean politically and in terms of policy. I mean culturally, like in terms of the sentiment, in terms of the culture. It's populistic. China doesn't have Western political correctness. Chinese censorship has nothing in common with Western political correctness. I swear to God, if you talk to Chinese people, you would melt like a fucking ball of, a cube of sugar in the fucking rain. You fucking snowflake bitch. And Matt Taibbi, the sex tourist yellow he's just slandering all these fucking, what's your fucking point? Your people are also the same way. And bashes the American media as Soviet and calls Marxists un-American. Who fucking cares? So are you gonna respond to him? Are you gonna complain to the authorities? Because all you fucking are is a Karen snitch with a snitch mentality. Are you actually going to respond to Matt Taibbi as a fucking man? Or are you gonna bitch and snitch to the fucking authorities to try to cancel him? You fucking pussy. Why don't you just debate Matt Taibbi or something? Or maybe just ignore him. How about that? Nobody's forcing you to care that much. Learn to fucking know learn to choose your battles, you know? Who gives a fuck? It's not what's important now actually, is it? I don't think I give a fuck what Matt Taibbi thinks about Marxism. One's in the chat if you care about what he thinks about Marxism. Is that why he's significant at all? Who fucking cares? These are people who would knife a commie in the back if they could get away with it. But that's what the fucking Soviet government did. You don't think the Soviet government did that too? Probably self-proclaimed communists were the biggest victims politically of the Soviet government. Politically. At least during the Stalin era. Their problem with capitalism is that their type of people aren't ruling it. So, why are you on GenZedong? How is this person saying this on GenZedong with no self-awareness when this is literally what they say about China? This is literally what they're saying about China. This is literally what they're saying about China. Who are their people? Who are their people? The people you don't fucking know about and you wrote off and you have nothing to do with. That's who. Well, no. Listen, the people you wrote off as white supremacists. Now, are they white supremacists? In a sense, they might be. But you can't treat them as though they're ideological white supremacists. They are part of a structural reality that is unconscious. You can't go ahead and treat individuals as literal white supremacists, because in America, to be a white supremacist actually means you're a white supremacist ideologically. It doesn't just fucking mean that you're part of some material reality that's called white supremacism. So when you're canceling people and saying, oh, Jimmy Dore's appealing to the white supremacists, shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot. So fucking sick of these leftist idiot bitches. Never identify with the left. Be true to the working masses. Be true to the people. Be true to whatever it is. Be true to the revolution. Be true to the party. Be true to something real. And don't worry about whether they're going to label you as a leftist or the rightist. Newsflash, they're going to label you as a leftist. Inevitably. If Infrared launched a party, we would be called leftists by everyone in America except the current left. But no one would care what they thought. Don't worry about being a leftist or being a rightist. Worry about being correct. Yes, you are inevitably going to land either in the left or in the right. That's inevitable, okay? But don't try to preemptively account for that and beat that inevitability to the chase and be like, oh, I am a leftist. I believe in the left wing. There is no left, dude. The left has no content. It's an empty form that only retrospectively is what you call someone a leftist or a rightist. How can the actual content of your position be that you're a leftist? That makes no fucking sense. What do you mean a left? So what does that even fucking mean? That has no content. Being a leftist is not a substantial position. Rather, being a leftist is a side effect of having a certain substantial position. Just like being a rightist is. It's not actually based on being a leftist or some existing established left. It's such a stupid fucking internet meme. And people are literally unironically adopting the fucking political spectrum. But don't you fucking know that someone creates that political spectrum, you fucking idiot? This is what they fucking do, these fucking retards on the fucking internet, leftists that we're dealing with. They unironically look at this political spectrum. This is what they do. They look at this political spectrum and they go, and some guy fucking made this, right? And they go, I'm here. I'm identifying myself based on the terms in the game someone else created. I'm part of their world. I'm part of their construction. they're not actually adopting. Listen, quote me on this. Quotes of Haas. Ready? In actuality, in America, everyone's a centrist. Epistemologically and ideologically, everyone is actually a centrist. It's just that they're a centrist who identifies with this part of the centrism. They identify with this part. But ultimately, their universe is not actually partisan. Their universe is not partial. Their universe itself is not leftist. It's still part of this same centrist ontology. It's part of this same centrist ontology. It's not actually based. Look, listen. Let me tell you how the left and the right actually acquires distinction, right? Do you first begin with a political compass and just go, I'm here, I took the test? No, it's not how it works. What happens is you just do this. This is what you do. This is what it actually means to be a leftist or a rightist. And the retards are not going to understand this. That's okay. Smart people will. You say unironically, this is the truth. This is the unbiased truth. You identify with that. And then, inevitably, that truth splits in half. And you are either here or you're here. And that happens afterwards. But it's still resulting from you believing in one truth. Real truth. This is where it begins. You just believe. Don't try to account for your biases before the fact. Be authentically true to what you believe in. And yes, you are going to be biased. You will inevitably be left or right. But don't fucking worry about that. Let it happen. Don't try to actually begin by saying, I'm part of the left. That makes no fucking sense. You think that's what Marx did? Is that what Marx did? Is that what Lenin did? No, it's not. They actually genuinely believed they were participating in the authentic, true reality, and as a side effect, they're leftists. That's what it means to authentically be a leftist. To authentically be a leftist means that your very ground, the very ground upon which you discern and believe in truth, is itself leftist. It's not that you have some neutral ground that the political spectrum say, I'm on the left side. No. To be an actual leftist means you have a determinate, concrete position first, without regard for any political distinction, and that inevitably becomes split. And you're on the left side or you're on the right side. And that's for others to judge, by the way. Most of all, not even you. It's not that you say you're a leftist. People look at you and the actual objective significance you have and say, oh, they're on the left wing then. You don't begin there. That's fucking stupid. Well, no, what it isn't? This globalist cabal of foreigners taking their job. Okay? What is your point, you fucking idiot? You're just creating the worst straw man archetype construction of right-wing populism and then vomiting that out on everyone. When has Jimmy Dore talked about a globalist cabal of foreigners taking their jobs? You fucking idiot. When has Jimmy Dore talked about that, huh? So basically what he's trying to say is that the problem with us populists is that we're actually concerned with the people who are politically relevant within our own country. We're not thinking about everyone, 7 billion people on earth. Well, here's the reason for that, you fucking idiot. Because our country doesn't have sovereign control over those people. We don't have jurisdiction over people living in fucking Honduras and living in fucking India. I can't say that I'm trying to rally those people because I don't fucking live there, and our state, the state that actually exercises sovereign power over us doesn't have fucking jurisdiction there, you fucking idiot. Oh, why doesn't it though? Oh, well, American imperialism does. Well, that's why all those populists you mentioned are anti-war, you fucking idiot. They're all anti-war. The left, who are entertaining alliances with these people, are losing sight of the consequentialism of politics. This is on GenZedong, a supposedly tanky subreddit. They call themselves Dengist, and we just found the Vosh Destiny dog whistle. And specifically Vosh. Because this is not a Destiny fan, this is a Vosh fan. Consequentialism. He's complaining about my philosophy, my worldview, my vision, my view of reality, and they've just admitted that they got all of theirs from Vosh. This is a Voshite. Literal Voshite. Literal fucking Voshite. And they even mimicked all the fucking arguments that Vosh himself repeats. Isn't that fucking crazy? They actually had to go so far as to repeat all of Vosh's own fucking arguments in this whole fucking thing. What is so left-wing? These aren't part of my movement, the left. Fuck your left, bitch. What is the world they are trying to create? We're not trying to create a world, you fucking idiot. We're trying to establish an actually authentic relationship to the material world that exists now. Have you ever read Marx? And I'm using that word authentically quite liberally now because you fucking brought it in. And I'm going to show you how you actually use that word. Ultimately, they align with their hated liberals with a world system dominated by the US capital and values. This is a Voshite trying to trick the people at GenZedong to not adopt the actual politics in America that would allow us to learn from China. There is no explicit white nationalist national ideology, as Fred said, but American exceptionalism is their national religion. It's not their national religion, you fucking idiot. It's about what makes sense and what's actually real for the majority of American people. Spurging out about Marxism-Leninism is not gonna fucking get you anywhere. But putting twists on the things that they're actually familiar with and putting them in new context and thereby exhuming the concrete and not subjective contradictions that give rise to the socialistic and communist position, that, my friend, is what a materialist does. Materialists don't spur God saying, we have to establish Marxism. They say peace, land, and bread. They speak within the framework that makes sense for the majority of people, and they exhume the concrete contradictions. The fact that everyone says America's an exceptional country, and yet in America we can't even have public health care, that, my friend, is a concrete contradiction. Your contradiction is subjective. I'm true, I have the way, and I have the truth, and all reality's bad. Yes, we know American exceptionalism is flawed and all those kinds of things, but it's one thing to say that from an empty, beautiful soul position of airy-fairy subjectivism, and it's another thing to actually discern the concrete contradictions of that very same thing that you're condemning and saying is wrong. Juche Lord, you stupid fuck. I'm not going to read your paragraphs. I'm going to let you come in my fucking VC. Come in my fucking VC and talk your shit, you bitch. You fucking pussy. Shut the fuck up, bitch. The fuck you talking in chat for? Oh, it's just a troll. I thought it was the same guy. Okay. Ban Juche Lord. Get the fuck out of my chat, pussy. Stupid bitch. Where are our mods? Do we have any mods in the chat? Let's finish it. Let's finish it. Just like the ALO, the left today will find out just how difficult it is to dislodge fundamentalist faith. You're a fucking idealist idiot who is trying to impose upon reality formal ideas and ideologies in the place of material content. You fucking idiot. You're just assuming that this is a fundamental faith rather than some kind of index of material reality, which is actually what it fucking is. It's not a religion. It's not even an idea or an ideology. It's based in something real and material, you fucking moron. And I don't know, maybe the American state is something real and material. Maybe the actual fact that that's something real, that this country actually exists. We actually have a state with real political power that's actually real, and that we're citizens of this country is actually real, and something actually materially real. Maybe it's not based in ideas, but actual reality. Maybe people talk about America not because there's some fundamentalist faith, because America's actually a real country, whereas what you're talking about is a fake ideology that doesn't exist. Maybe that's why that it's actual reality we're talking about, not ideology. Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever thought about it that it's not actually because it's a fundamentalist faith? No. You say it's a faith, because if you call material reality a matter of faith and belief, you can excise it and deal with it on your intellectualistic terms. Whereas if you recognize it as material, you have to deal with it at the material level, which is something quite different than your rampant, unhinged subjectivism. This guy's just like Max Stirner, the guy Marx blow the fuck out, who tried to call everything a spook and a ghost and fake, elevating every material thing to the level of a pure subjective idea, and then subsequently expelling it from all existence. All we have to do is remove the spooks and we're outside of it. It's the same stupid fucking bullshit we're dealing with. Yeah, sure, populism might have a hand in shaping the political present and near future of the USA, but I don't think the left will have more than a footnote in that story. Look at this defeatist piece of shit. You fucking flex on this defeatist bitch. CPUSA 2036 in the chat. CPUSA 2036 in the chat. Let's show this fucking defeatist bitch that his fucking defeatist fucking cuck mentality is not gonna win. Stupid bitch. What a fucking ugly post. Ugly fucking post. Blew the whole fuck out of it. Blown the fuck out, stupid fuck post. He thinks it's all just an idea. He's raising it to the level of a fucking trivial idea and then extinguishing it from reality. Failing to understand that what he's dismissing as a mere idea and a mere point of faith is actually a site in which we can measure material realities. That the barrier to entry to understanding these things and talking about America and the way he's saying the majority of Americans do is so fucking low that there's something materially real about it that doesn't require ideological and theoretical mediation in the way he fucking thinks. What is the world they're trying to create? You're putting the cart before the fucking horse. You don't first raise up into your imagination the world you want to create and act accordingly. That's your Western view of what praxis means. Eastern view of praxis, since you're calling yourself a dengist on a fucking dengist fucking subreddit, the Eastern view means you submit to material reality first, and then you develop your idea of it afterwards. You don't first fucking say, I want reality to be this, and then act upon that. You say, this is what reality is, and you submit to it. And you could say, how could a Marxist submit to the reality that exists when we oppose it? But we don't oppose it as Marxists. You've just taken for granted what that reality actually fucking is. if you looked at that reality as a Marxist, you'd see it has internal contradictions, and those internal contradictions are objective. Marx didn't fucking say we want to make communism and use the proletariat as our fucking vehicle. He said there's something about reality that gives rise to the proletariat. It's an imminent, real contradiction, and there's something about this reality that makes communism fucking inevitable out of it. Fucking read Marx, you stupid fucking dipshit. I'm sick of replicating all of the fucking debates and polemics that Marx went through fighting the retards of his day and Lenin went through fighting the retards of his fucking day. It's all there. It's all written down in the books. They've been there and done that. I'm sick of having to fucking repeat doing it myself. I just want to fucking play Minecraft and not have to deal with these fucking retards. Come in my VC and debate me, by the way. I want to debate you publicly and put this debate on GenZedong. Fucking idiot. Stupid bitch.